Good morning, geeks and gamers. It's another episode of your favorite daily live stream. It took us years and years to come up with the name Geeks and Gamers Daily, but we are here. We're tired because Tuesday night's main event was pretty fucking awesome last night. And then I played Fortnite until about 4 o'clock in the morning because that's what grown ass men do. Shout out to Gavin McGinnis.
Yeah, Gavin McGinnis would disagree.
Yeah, I heard that. But we got a lot to talk about today, and you guys are clearly enjoying this show, which we greatly appreciate. So what we're gonna do here, actually, and we talked about this yesterday, is we kind of start the show out like really quickly. We're gonna start with a 5-minute countdown. We're gonna kind of get some graphics put together. I don't know, we'll maybe start that next week, so it gives people time to get in here and get rolling, because we do kind of jump right into the topics. But what'd you have, Ryan?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to kind of just delay that a little bit to give people time to roll in here. This is a freaking rough turnaround for Tuesday night's main event to this show. And then for you guys that don't know, we do the political show on Wednesdays. So that's going to be on my channel at 1 p.m. on Patriot Outpost, my political channel. So yeah, Tuesdays were already rough for us because of that turnaround between Tuesday night's main event and then this one, or the political stream. But then we added another stream in there, and you, for some reason, just want to play video games all day.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. I've got 4 streams today. So I've got this one. I've got the political show on your channel. Then we do Fortnite tonight, and then I got Cobra Cast after that. So 4 streams today. But hey, that's what we're here for. I saw somebody in the chat say, and I'm assuming you're talking about this show, but you said, I love this, but what are the odds that this keeps going? Considering 2,000 people have shown up for both streams, it's a very good chance this keeps going, because you guys have, look, at the end of the day, when you guys show that you like what we're doing, we're going to keep giving you more of it. The bottom line is we work for you. That's how it's always been at Geeks and Gamers. Is how it's always going to be. So we greatly do appreciate it. But we got topics today. We got things we're going to talk about. We're going to cover Marvel news. We've got some Will Smith being protected news. I actually do want to talk about the Super Mario Brothers box office, because we do have some early projections right now that we're going to talk about, which I think points to really good news for the movie, as I've been saying, but it doesn't guarantee anything. And then we're going to talk about this nonsense from Drew Barrymore yesterday. But Ryan, what is our very first topic?
Well, our very first topic, let's get into the Drew Barrymore thing. You wanted to talk about that. We woke up this morning and Jeremy's like, I really want to talk about trans people and Drew Barrymore today. I was like, okay.
Yes. So yesterday there was this clip going around with Drew Barrymore with this Dylan. Is it Mulvaney? Is that how you say this person's name? Dylan Mulvaney?
I think so.
And it's one of the cringiest things I have seen, because what we have seen consistently from the mainstream media, from Hollywood, from big tech, from sports, professional sports, across the board, we've seen a blatant disrespect for women. And what we saw from Drew Barrymore yesterday was just insane. So we're going to play this clip, and if you have seen it, then you know exactly what we're talking about. This is from Savannah Hernandez. Savannah Hernandez is awesome. So Drew Barrymore has been an embarrassment for years. Now she's kneeling to the man that is making a mockery of the entire female gender. Incredible. So news to me, I didn't know Drew Barrymore had a show. I don't know where the show airs.
Yeah,
does anybody know
it's
where
been going on
airs?
for a while, and she's had a couple viral moments throughout it, including I think when she took a shot at Johnny Depp, she had to like apologize for that at one point, things like that. But it's been running for a while. I don't know exactly what channels it on or anything like that.
Yeah, so it's a 3-minute clip, but I think the full context needs to be given so that you kind of understand how performative this is, because this is Drew Barrymore, a longtime actress in Hollywood, acting and putting on a performance for the cameras. And this is showing you the Hollywood mindset right here. This is insane. Have you seen this clip, Ryan?
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't seen the full 3 minutes. This will be the first time watching the full 3 minutes.
Here we go.
Let me ask you about the negativity. How have you dealt with it? And what's an approach you take? What's your self-talk? What do you filter?
Yes.
How do you?
I still read the comments, but there is so much hatred directed to the trans community right now. It's everywhere. And I think the greatest weapon that I can contribute is trans joy and comedy and talking about hard, subjects and really intricate moments of a transition, and try to let everybody in to see that, I'm not a monster. I'm not somebody that, is trying to do anything but be myself and be happy.
Ryan, have you ever faced any negativity online? Because because I haven't personally as a straight white male. I've never had a mean thing said to me ever. It's only the trans community and black people that get any negativity. Yet, have you experienced negativity? Because I haven't. Clearly.
I can't say I have. I've never had a take that people didn't like. I've never had anyone call me out. I've never had anyone make videos about me. I've never had anyone criticize me. Mostly because I am a straight white male.
Yeah, it's. So I feel for this this horrible situation, because again, as a straight white male, I've never had one mean thing ever said to me online. So I guess I understand the problem here, and it's so brave and stunning for Drew Barrymore to highlight this very toxic situation.
Love ya.
Thank you, everybody, for that support.
Thank you, everybody, for that support. Oh my God, man! This is Drew Barrymore's best performance she's given in a long time, right here. This is a fantastic performance.
Do you stay on your own path? Where do you draw boundaries? Where do you find the strength to keep being the joy?
Well, I think having my chosen family and the people that I love to take care of me. But I also think there's something just about making sure that you don't put something out there before you're ready, and really just surrounding yourself with good people. It's interesting because I look at someone like you and I can't imagine anybody disliking you.
Oh, please. Do you want to know, ironically, who dislikes me the most sometimes?
Who?
Myself.
Oh.
Now, this is what I'll say. I've seen a lot of people talking about her getting down on the floor thing, and it's cringe, it's fake, it's so played out. This is something that she does on her show. This is not a Dylan Mulvaney specific thing, and I'll even show real quick.
And I didn't know that, so I'm glad you gave that context.
Exactly, because there's a lot of people, and you wouldn't know. Why would anybody watch Drew Barrymore's show? I don't know, right? But this is something she does constantly. She gets down on the floor with people. She gets down, grabs their hands. There's fucking Billy Eichner and his gay friend in the Bros movie, Tyler Perry, Hillary freaking Clinton, right? Like, this is something that she does. So it's not like, I don't think it's necessarily like, just related to this. It's cringe as hell and it's stupid as hell. But I just wanted to point that out there, that it's not like she's just doing this for trans Dylan.
Right. Okay. Good context on that. I had no idea on that one.
Me too. Oh. But I guess, you've asked me now, what I would do to combat the hate, right?
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Okay, that's a great question.
Look at how much taller he is than her. Look at how much bigger he is.
Oh God, man.
Been doing it a little longer than I have.
Well, it's funny because when I was a kid, starting with E.T., it was the first time I was introduced to film reviews, which are basically social media.
Yes.
But I felt like all these reviews, and it could be a Charlie's Angels, it could be an E.T., it could be The Wedding Singer, everything in between. If you read reviews, just like on social media, you are pretty much guaranteed a 50-50. Some like it, some don't.
Okay, yeah. E.T., the movie E.T., it was just a 50-50 one, Some people hated it, some people loved it. By the way, you were like fucking 6 years old in E.T. Please don't tell me that you were reading the paper to find the reviews of E.T. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
But, speaking of E.T., it did remind a lot of people we'd be But it did remind a lot of people. They're their first time reuniting. It's been a while. It's been a while.
So there's no need to listen to the rest of this nonsense. I just wanted to show the performative arts aspect of it, because that's all that was. That was acting. That was an actor acting, pandering to a social justice movement. And again, on an individual level, I don't really care who you support. I don't care what movements that you support. My problem is, again, the hypocrisy of the situation. And yes, to like the point, you said that Drew Barrymore, she's done that on her show before. Okay, fair play. She's done it with people that are just as left as she is. Hillary fucking Clinton. Would she have Donald Trump on her show, and would she get on her knees and sit there and have a conversation about the mean comments that Donald Trump gets? Oh, Donald, how do you deal with the mean comments? How do you deal with all of the racism directed towards you? How do you feel when they mention your orange skin? How do you feel when they make disrespectful comments to your family? That would never happen. That would never happen, because acknowledging that he gets more hate than any human being on the planet would destroy the fake narrative that only a certain person or a certain group of people get hate. And that's what drives me crazy. I'm so tired of this idea that only certain people get hate online. But hey, the white man, he never gets any hate. No. There's never any negativity towards the straight white male. No, it's only non-white dudes that get hate, which is bullshit. Everybody gets hate on the internet. The internet is the ultimate judge, juror, and executioner. The internet takes care of shit. They hold you accountable. You get roasted when you have a bad take. The internet doesn't care what skin color you have or who you fuck. They just gonna roast you when you deserve to be roasted. That's how it operates.
It's just cringe. It's cringe to have people who are pretending to fight for female empowerment support the like complete destruction of the feminine identity, of the female identity,
Yes.
by bringing people on like that and pretending to accept their delusions. And that's really what's going on with that whole thing. And it made for a good viral cringe moment. They put a TikTok out of them basically making out. It's so weird. But
I haven't seen that. I have not seen that. So
I wouldn't recommend watching.
And I don't want to see that, by the way. Holy crap. Welcome into all of our audience this morning. Geeks and Gamers Daily is here, your daily live stream here, Monday through Friday here on Geeks and Gamers, coming off of a massively awesome and hilarious Tuesday night's main event. So if we sound a little tired, we are, but this is the first of 4 streams for me, 3 for Ryan today, because we're going to be live on Patriot Outpost an hour after this ends. We're going to be live over there, and then we got Fortnite tonight, and Ryan will be there, and then I will have Cobra Cast later. So a busy day, but many other topics that we have to cover. And I'm interested to talk more about this Will Smith situation, because the Oscars were protecting Will Smith. Protect Will Smith at all costs. I don't even know the details of this, but Ryan has all of the information for us.
Yeah, one of the main reasons that anybody likely tuned into the Oscars this year was to see if there was any more drama. If any drama would repeat itself from last year, with Will Smith going up on stage in front of the entire world and slapping Chris Rock across the face all over a G.I. Jane joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. Obviously, that wasn't the most embarrassing thing for Will Smith. We saw the entanglement stuff, all the drama that went on behind the scenes with his marriage, everything. But one of the more ridiculous things that turned everybody off to Hollywood was the fact that after 30 minutes after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, everybody gave him a standing ovation when he won the Best Actor award. And Jimmy Kimmel did take a shot or two at Will Smith, but apparently they had to protect Will Smith at all costs. They had to acknowledge it. They couldn't not acknowledge it. But apparently they cut a bunch of jokes about Will Smith out because they just didn't feel like it was their place. Jimmy Kimmel got rid of harder Will Smith jokes at 2023 Oscars. It wasn't our place to do that. That should be Chris Rock, not us, executive producer Molly McNearney said.
Jesus Christ. I mean, like the fact that, and again, the fact that they were avoiding something that was so unbelievably embarrassing. Like, I don't know what your stance on this is, Ryan, but my overall opinion of Will Smith has been severely damaged, probably forever, over this. Like I always thought of Will Smith as kind of like one of the few good guys in Hollywood. You know what I mean? He's been around forever. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, rapping, Men in Black, Independence Day. He was at one point in time. Will Smith was the biggest star in Hollywood. He was massive, and he always came off as likable. But his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith has always been fake, and the media has always protected that relationship for many years, for decades. And seeing more insight into his relationship, because him and Jada decided to put it all out there for the world to see, and then seeing how controlling she was of him, then seeing the Instagram live where she was trying to talk to him and he was basically saying that you can't hijack my social media, blah 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 blah. And then of course the Chris Rock thing where he laughed about it, as everyone else laughed, until Jada gave him the look. And then this man, a grown-ass man in front of the world, because a woman gave him a look, decided to make a fool of himself on the biggest stage and the biggest night. And it just, my opinion of him has been severely damaged. Severely.
I think I feel more sad, to be honest, like throughout the entire thing, I feel more sad for him than anything else. Like, because it's clear that he's been controlled by this woman, by Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't think he's the one that wanted to put all their stuff out there. She is, right? She's the one that wanted to put this out there. She's the one that wanted to make this public to the entire world, all for a little more publicity. And at the end of the day, I think what we saw at the Oscars was a culmination of years and years and years of him being treated like that from her. Is that bitch made from Will Smith? Yes, 100%. But I like, for me, I can't help but like feel a little bit bad for the dude living through all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, he's the one that decided to get physical with Chris Rock during that time. And he has nobody to blame but himself for allowing all of this to happen, for allowing himself to be controlled by this woman, and then for ultimately doing that. I personally think that Jada probably has some stuff on him. Will Smith is probably like taking a dick or something like that. Like she might know like something about Will Smith. Which is why he's continuing to put up with it. But it doesn't change the fact that they should have addressed this way more than they did at this year's Oscars, because it's not just about what happened on stage between Will Smith and Chris Rock. It was the reaction from Hollywood. Now, in this article, there's a line here that I think is kind of crazy, and I want to get through these quotes and I'll talk about it. Jimmy Kimmel was planning on calling out Will Smith over his 2022 Oscar slap even harder, but the host apparently scrapped multiple Smith jokes throughout the ceremony. We didn't want to make this year all about last year. I can't tell you how many Will Smith jokes that we had to get rid of. We think it's only best for that room made it. There were certainly some that went harder, but we didn't think that was our place. That should be Chris Rock. We really liked the idea of making fun of the reaction to it last year. I think we're all still in a bit of shock of how that went down and how after watching that violence, everyone had to then sit through an acceptance speech. You all applauded. You all got up on your feet and gave him a standing ovation. If you had a problem with it, you didn't have to clap. You didn't have to stand up. You didn't have to applaud someone after they had committed that violence that you had to sit through. But that just shows that even with the perfect opportunity to really poke fun at themselves, really to call themselves out in a way that could have been funny, they refused to take that. They refused to do it. They refused to really go after this as hard as they should have. Jimmy Kimmel's supposed to be a fucking comedian, yet he's cutting out all these jokes that would have gone over great with the normal population, with everybody else, but it might not have gone over well in Hollywood. So they didn't want to tell those jokes.
This is why these weirdos just have lost connection to the everyday person. Self-awareness is a very powerful thing. And when you see people become self-aware and when you see people owning it, like, look, man, look what happened to us on FNT. What did we do? We've memed it. We've laughed at it. You know, we've shared some of the stuff that the people have put out there, some of the fans, you know, that Seinfeld clip. It was so damn funny. You know what I mean? It's like you've got to own shit. You've just got to own it when it happens. You know, I get that when that happened last year, a lot of people were in shock. I'm sure a lot of people were like, okay, well, was that real? Was this set up? Was this planned? I understand. You know, a lot of people were probably caught off guard, much like we were on FNT. But after the dust settles, A year later now, you can't just own it and joke about it and have self-awareness. That's a huge problem. And this is why Hollywood has lost connection with the everyday people, because they cannot have any self-awareness. They are above everyone and everything, including their own selves. They can't even look at their own selves and just laugh and own this situation. So this story right here, more of the same from Hollywood. Not surprised at all. I'm sure Josiah's going to make a video calling out Hollywood.
For sure. Let's get to some of these super chats. Thank you guys for being here. Grem Paltakin for 2. Name it Geeks and Gamers Morning Glory Hole. I don't know about that. Ozma, welcome to the channel, Ozma. Beach Lover for 2. Hi from Germany. Here it's 4 p.m. Well, there you go. It's finishing up your workday. The John Beck for 2. Morning suckers and chat. Thank you. Michael Ruka becomes a channel member. Alex McCarthy, member for 9 months. Limis Morning News featuring Jeremy.
Limis Morning.
Bill Sotheby for 5. Whose is bigger, Gavin's or Dylan's after the hormone supplements? My bet would be Dylan's, to be honest, based on what we saw. Alex for 2 says hard subjects. Yes, hard subjects for the morning wood. Anthony Landolfi for 2. I send you funny picture on Twitter. Thank you. Bird
you.
Up for 2. Dylan sounds like Krista's trans voice. Kyle Denson for 2. Where's Ghostface when we need him? I know. Matt Guillemette for 550. This show's much better than Campia's, based on honest facts. God bless. Right. Shout out John Campia. But thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. I don't know when he goes live.
I don't either.
Carlos Estrada for 5. To those looking forward to Diablo 4, it's always online and there's a battle pass. I'm fine with it. To others, no offline mode at all.
Yeah, no offline mode at all. It's always a problem. That's why I like the first Titanfall game.
I don't care about that. In 2023, I don't give a fuck about it.
I know you don't, but what I'm saying is, like, the first Titanfall, it basically was an online only game, and I think that hurt bringing the new player base in, bringing people into it. Like, I loved it for everything that it was, but it needed an offline single player game mode. And so, yeah, the second one did, but the release date was terrible for it. But I don't know, man. Having some type of offline mode, I think, is beneficial. It doesn't have to be super in depth, but
yeah, I think that like 5-10 years ago, 1000%. Like I don't see any reason to do something like that. Nowadays, I just can't, like, I can't foresee a time where I'm playing a game without an internet connection.
yeah.
Like I just don't, like, to me, I could never possibly imagine doing that. So it's not a big factor for me. Maybe it still is for some people. But you know, I get it. You know, if even if there's like 10% of the population out there, why not just make it available offline? I don't know. I'm not a game developer, so I can't tell you why or why not to potentially do that stuff. But Alexander Shilbisky for 5. We all thought Will's wife and kids were weird. Then Will got violent, and now we think the entire immediate family are weirdos. Guys, kids are messed up. Again, I think that Will Smith has allowed this woman to completely destroy his entire life. Like, she's the reason that the kids are fucked up. She's the one discussing their shit out in public. She's the one dragging them up there looking miserable to talk about fucking some other guy. Everybody's got problems. No relationship is perfect, but you don't, like, the idea that you would broadcast it to the world all for clout like that is disturbing. Fictitious Dave Savage for 2. Geeks and Gamers, Bits and Pixels. You know?
Bad.
Kale for 2. How's my 2 favorite gay lovers? I don't know. Arthur Brown for 5. Good day. It's 2 a.m. I have a job interview. In the morning. I've lost control of my life. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Dino Eduardo for 5. I watched a bit of the Transformers movies, although I didn't enjoy it. Lord willing, someday I will be a car.
The only Transformers movie well, there's 2 of them. The very first one, and then Bumblebee. Those are the only 2 that I like. The rest of them are just, they're unwatchable for me.
I would say I'm fine with all of them. The one with Mark
Mark
Wahlberg,
Wahlberg.
and the Anthony Hopkins one. That one is a little much, but
Yeah,
yeah.
they're just bad, man. I mean, like I said, the first one has a lot of fun elements, and I thought just really had a fresh vibe to it. And then the second one, after that one, after the first one, then the second one was bad. The third one was bad. Then the fourth one was the first Mark Wahlberg movie, I think. I don't even remember after that. Then Bumblebee. Bumblebee was fantastic, though.
Yeah, it's tough to keep track. Like I have very clear memories of the first three. Obviously the first two Megan Fox ones, and then they swap her out for a random hot blonde for Transformers 3 with Shia LaBeouf, and then Mark Wahlberg comes in. I think he did 2 movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of blend together for me a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Should we talk about your favorite movie or your most anticipated movie, Jeremy?
Yes. So I think you've got the information because I asked you right before we went live. But for those of you that have been following the channel for any significant time, or even for the short term, you know that I am very, very much a big Nintendo fan. Now, with the Super Mario Brothers movie, when it was announced, I was like, how is this even going to be a movie? How are they going to make a full-length Mario movie? This sounds like a bad idea, and I'm not really seeing where this can go and how this can be successful. So I didn't have a lot of hype. And then when they announced Chris Pratt, I just remember being like, okay, that still is a strange decision. I don't really see where this is going, yada, yada, yada. Then we started to see some of the footage, and I was like, okay, I mean, that looks okay. It looks interesting. Then the first trailer. And when I saw the first trailer, I was like, holy shit, okay, this movie does look pretty interesting, pretty good. And the more content we've seen from it, the better it's looked. And now we're at a point where I believe that this has a chance to be a $1 billion film. Obviously, I had concerns with the Princess Peach moment that reminded me of Bo Peep. I'm not overly concerned about that anymore, but it's Hollywood, and so you have to at least have that concern out there. But I know that there was a Princess Peach trailer that was released the other day that people were tagging me in. That was a fan-made trailer. It was clips from the movie, but that was not officially released from Nintendo or Illumination, so that was not anything to be concerned about. Moving forward, though, we have long-range box office forecast. Nintendo and Illumination's Super Mario Brothers movie on course for stellar Easter debut, potential $100 million plus long weekend haul. If they hit this number domestically, if they hit $100 million domestically, and this movie is somewhat good, it's a $1 billion movie right here. It's a $1 billion movie.
Probably. Yeah. And obviously, these things are judged much differently. You have to look at these movies much differently than you look at, say, an MCU debut. Because Ant-Man made $100 million, and that movie is not going to hit $500 million worldwide. But it hit $100 million opening weekend because of the way that Marvel's kind of trained the audience to anticipate these first weekend releases. Whereas with an animated movie like Mario, from what we've seen with Sonic, from what we've seen from Illumination in general, or even like, Puss in Boots, the Minions movies, things like that, they have much better legs typically. One, because they're much better movies, but also just because that's the type of audience you're dealing with. In terms of an audience that might attract some younger people as well. Families might not all go out on opening weekend. They might go throughout the week, whatever. So when you do look at this, and you have to scroll all the way down to see, this is very long range tracking, but right now, this is what they're looking at for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Opening weekend projected between $71 and $105 million opening. Potentially right now, domestic haul, $300 million to $427 million. Now, I think if this number hits the 350 to 400 domestic, I think it will make $1 billion because I think the international splits will be way better than domestic splits because I think it's going to have just such a worldwide appeal. And right now, Screen Rant is predicting the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Now it's just what they're coming up with. They think it's going to be the top movie in the box office this year. They're looking at it like they think that $900 million is probably the bare minimum that this movie will make based on the Nintendo brand, based on Mario, based on Illumination's track record. When you look at those Minions movies that tend to make like $900 million, some of them have broke $1 billion. this is where they think that the floor is around 900 million and, you know, potentially over $1 billion.
Listen, this is not when this movie was first announced, before we saw anything, I could not comprehend that it was something of this level. They have put massive resources behind this movie. Nintendo has never been stronger as a company or a brand. Nintendo is hitting levels that we have never seen. The Switch is going to end up being the best-selling console of all time. Now, the one thing I'm waiting for Nintendo to do, I think there's some type of Mario announcement, some type of video game announcement that's going to be intertwined with this, but we're less than a month away now. So I don't know what, I mean, that was the anticipation, was that we're going to get the next 2D Mario or the next 3D Mario game announced to kind of build hype. Mario Day came and went 5 days ago. We thought that might be the day that it happens, but nothing has been announced. Obviously, there's a lot of hype for, the Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom. And so they're going to keep that focus on. But there's got to be a Mario announcement in the next few weeks, I would imagine.
You know, we also, like, Nintendo doesn't necessarily do stuff the way we'd think. They would have no problem just announcing it like the day before it launches. They just don't care about that kind of thing. You know, we've seen that from them before. Overall, like, the movie looks fine. I actually think that they're putting too much into this movie. Like, so far in the trailers, we've seen basically every possible video game referenced.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, man, like, I would want to maybe save some of that for another Mario movie, you know, a potential sequel or whatever. But like right now, between I feel like every single Mario franchise, other than Paper Mario, I guess, has almost been represented in some way in the movie, which is kind of crazy.
I would agree with that. I mean, you've seen so many hidden references of just little things, but I take that as a positive because they are honoring what people know Mario as in these little moments. And obviously the Mario Kart stuff looks to be a pretty big section within the movie, which is a good play for them. I mean, I think this movie is going to be, now again, the other thing we have to acknowledge is right now there's a massive hole in the market, and it's that Disney Pixar market. You know, that Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo. We're not getting that from Disney because they're pushing identity politics driven nonsense. Like, this looks to be a good family friendly film with iconic characters that every single person on the planet knows. There's a huge market right now for that because Disney has lost that market significantly over the last 5 years. So if this movie's successful, this opens up the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, which is fucking hard to imagine for me, hard to process that we could be getting an NCU. And that's what happens. If this movie becomes this big hit that it looks like it could be, it leads us to a Nintendo Cinematic Universe. Holy shit. Whew.
Yeah, it'd be weird. I mean, they can do a lot. Obviously, you could do Zelda movies, you could do Metroid movies, and like, hey, there's your strong, powerful woman, right?
Yeah,
you've got it right there. So, and maybe we'll actually get to hear Link talk.
That's wild,
weird,
man.
Like, it's weird enough having Mario talk, but he does talk. Like, we've heard him talk, we've heard him say things, you know, just not like a ton. To hear that from Link, I guess, would be weird in a movie, but we'll see. I definitely think it's going to do massive numbers in the box office. I don't know what the budget is. I can't find like an accurate reported budget for this movie, but either way, if it cracks 800, 900 million dollars, it doesn't even have to make $1 billion, and it's still going to be massively profitable in all likelihood based on normal Illumination budgets. So we'll see.
So it's exciting. So we're going to see. I mean, obviously these are very early numbers. I just can't see a scenario this movie doesn't have a huge opening weekend, but the legs of the movie will come down to the word of mouth discussion. Like, is this just going to be a generic paint by the numbers? Hey, here's a movie with Mario where he does a couple of fun, goofy things to honor the video games, and it has just your standard kind of whatever story to it? Or is it going to be something that can kind of transcend like a Toy Story? I don't know, but I did see this comment. I think this is a very good point that think needs to be made from a movie making standpoint. I love this point. I'll admit people are mad about Peach not being captured or whatever, but given the plot, Mario is closer to his brother. He just met Peach and her subjects. He's known his brother all of his life. So from a storytelling movie standpoint, that makes a lot more sense. That why would he in a movie? Because it's easier for a video game. It's like, oh, hey, here's the guy and he goes and saves the princess. But like, you have to tell. This is why I doubted the storytelling element of this when it was first announced. I'm like, what story are you going to tell for a full length movie? Mario and Luigi has had to be rescued in the games previously before, so this isn't an outlier. So Mario rescuing his brother has more emotional weight from a storytelling standpoint than just some random princess that he didn't know. So that makes sense.
The proper thing to do would be to have this be the plot of this movie, and then for the sequel, for Peach to get captured. That would be the proper thing to do. We'll see what happens.
Yep. So I'm excited. Less than a month. Already got my tickets. Krista did a vlog over on Park Hoppin' for this movie, showing some of the promotional footage. As a matter of fact, I do want to show everybody that before we move on. Do you have some super chats you want to get, Ryan, while I get this?
Yeah. Arthur Brown for 5. Halo Infinite probably would have been better without its piece of shit campaign. Probably. Slick Rick member for 10 months says Hollywood reached peak delusion and lost touch with self-help, self-worship industry blew up a decade ago. Should have turned to God for help instead. Mugsikins for 2. Diablo 3 and 4 have offline modes on the consoles only. And then someone else followed up to for $2. Carlos Estrada says no offline for D4 on console. Other chat incorrect. I don't know. Beach Lover for 5. Did you watch one of the Oscar nominated movies? I watched Top Gun and Avatar too. Yeah.
So this was Krista City Walk. We got the Mario stuff going on.
Hello, Park Hoppin'. I am here at Universal City Walk, and I'm going to see if they have any Mario merch today. So let's go. You can see that at City Walk, they already have the banners up. It goes all around, as you can see. They're really, really promoting this movie, as they should.
So if you guys want to see that full video, you can go over to Park Hoppin'. But yeah, the Universal Studios marketing push has already started. And I think it's really cool to see how much emphasis they're putting on it. So shout out to Park Hoppin' and to Krista.
Ear Elephant for 5. TNME start time must interfere with Jeremy's new 4 p.m. dinner at the senior buffet.
That's really good. That was good.
Kyle Denson for 5. Maybe they'll announce something in the movie like they did with that Wizard movie for Super Mario Bros. 3 back in the 80s.
Hey, we'll see.
Mike has bad knees for 5. Not my idea, but picture this movie ending with them rescuing Luigi, but Bowser riding off in the distance with the kidnapped princess. Mario Bros. 2.
That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Pepe Payne for $10. Obviously, I support Geeks and Gamers. With the social/financial collapse, what are y'all thinking of getting out of cities? If so, could y'all start promoting self-sufficiency, i.e. growing your own garden? I think that everybody should probably have some sort of like plan in mind. If everything went to shit, what you would do. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think everybody needs to move out of cities right now. I'm not saying that. But I don't know what Jeremy's perspective is on that. Like I wouldn't want to live in a big city, in a metropolis, right? That's not what I would want to do. And down here in Orlando, it's kind of a weird city, to be honest with you, because it's a really spread out place, and there's really no like central. If I was to tell you what downtown Orlando is, you'd probably drive by it in like 2 minutes and not even really notice that you were in downtown Orlando, because it's really spread out because of the parks, because of how many people live here, and because of how many people live here that work at the parks and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could never live in a New York or an LA or anything like that for the long haul. I couldn't do it. Orlando would be classified as a big city, but it's not a big city like New York or Chicago or something like that, because it's so spread out and there's so many sub areas of Orlando. So I don't know, man. I mean, if you're saying stay out of New York and LA, I agree completely. Stay out of Chicago, I agree completely. But like, that's just a standard I've always had. I would never want to live in a big city like that to begin with, because the rat race and everything involved with it. Um, so it's really a tough situation to kind of leverage. At the end of the day, I'm an individualist. Do whatever you want, as long as you're not breaking any laws or hurting anybody physically. I don't really give a shit what you do. So it's like, telling people where they should live is not really my cup of tea. It's like, I'll do my thing. If you ask me my opinion, I would say I would never live in a big city, but by the standard of a big city being New York, LA, Chicago, something like that.
Orlando feels like all of Orlando is a suburb. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the way it feels to me. Is like all of Orlando is actually just a suburb. Whereas, because I saw people in the chat saying LA spread out. LA is spread out, but it's
Still
shit
has its
that's
central.
it's shit that's spread everywhere. Like all whenever you drive through LA, I will say this: when you drive through large portions of LA, it feels like a shithole city. That's not how Orlando feels.
And you still have that central identifiable kind of area
downtown,
in LA. Whereas Orlando, I don't know where this. I mean, obviously everything's centered around Disney and Universal here. Those are the central locations of Orlando, but those aren't like Orlando. I mean, Disney's in Lake Buena Vista. So it's just so hard to kind of pinpoint this entire area as a one central place, or like you said, the downtown area. You can't really pinpoint that. So I don't know. It's I've heard the whole argument of like get out of cities, and while I agree with that sentiment generally, once you get to the meat and potatoes of it, what does that actually mean? What is a city by that standard?
I would not want to live in like East Orlando. I wouldn't want to live there because that's like the one part of the fucking like city.
Yeah.
Pretty much anytime you hear of like a shooting or something's probably there.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah.
And speaking of shootings, shout out to Lori Lightfoot for no reason other than shout out to shootings, because Chicago always breaking records. So,
yeah. West Britannicus for 5. A Star Fox franchise can cash my paychecks. Yes, please. I love Star Fox. East Coast Toasty Boy for 10. I like the old Zelda TAS, the animated series, maybe. I lived it and I loved it. And I hope they revive it. This is the way they go. Well, excuse me, princess. Link had so much sass. He was always thirsting after Zelda. I don't remember the Link series.
Well, there's been a lot of interpretation. Like if you go back to the CDI games, CDI. There's this cringy Zelda. There's this cringy Legend of Zelda CDI game. I think it was CDI. Am I remembering that correctly now? Zelda CDI, and yeah. So it's that was a tough one right there, the CDI version. So yeah, the chat's telling me now. So the Link series, if they were to make one, and again, Nintendo's always been reluctant to do something with Zelda or Link. That's going to be a tough one, bro. That one's going to be a very, very tough one. So we will see.
With Illumination making it, I honestly have no clue what level of quality it'll be. They're very hit or miss, says Cal. I think for most things I see from Illumination, I think it's pretty good. Marksman for 2 says corn pop, popcorn, corn pop, popper, corn pop. Thank you, Marksman.
Beast Clintwood says, Jeremy, you need sleep. I'm a doctor, I can tell. I'll sleep when I die.
Alexander Shabilsky for 5. Can you guys high five? Your window's almost touched. Jeremy on the left side, Jeremy on the right. There you go. That feels gay already.
Yeah, super gay.
Waffle for 15 shekels, unrelated. Please tell me Chrissy's going to cosplay Gavin for this week like she did with Frosk. Somehow I doubt it. East Coast Toasty Boy for 5. I miss Orlando. Grew up there. I know it like the back of my hand. Would be sure to go back there, but it's worse than when I was a kid. Thank you, East Coast Toasty Boy. All right. One last thing I wanted to talk about today, and it's Marvel.
So real quick, as you're getting that together, and Ryan is dying right now, so send super chats to help save him. But
we got to talk more.
So before we get into the next topic, we will be live over on Patriot Outpost here at 1
1
Eastern. 1 Eastern.
An hour after this stream ends.
Yeah,
basically.
an hour after the stream ends, we'll be live on Patriot Outpost for our political show over on Ryan's secondary channel or thirdary channel or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And then we have Fortnite tonight, and Ryan will be there as sick as he is. I don't know. Honestly, do you guys think I would like let Ryan off the hook for Fortnite? I think we could get somebody else. He's dying. He needs rest. So I may need to give him the hook. He may need the night off on Fortnite. He is dying. So I need him for other things other than Fortnite. So we'll see. I don't know. And then Cobra Cast after that.
Yeah, it's been crazy. You're insane. But I did want to talk about Marvel. Obviously, Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe did not get off to a very good start, with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania set to lose money for Disney. Won't even hit $500 million at the worldwide box office. And now it looks like Marvel is taking some action that some people are not very happy with. They're doing their best to shut down leaks, to shut down spoilers. Disney takes action to expose Marvel leakers who spoiled Ant-Man 3. And this isn't just like, oh, a random DMCA. This is them doing their best job to try to get the information of people that spread leaks about Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. To be clear, this is not like your basic leak. This is not, hey, guys, I heard something about this movie. It sounds like they're going to do this. Sounds like Kang is going to do this. Sounds like this. No, this is a script. This is an actual no shit, like 60-page script that got leaked a month before the movie. That's why Disney's trying so hard to take action, but it's resulted in the actual subreddit getting shut down, at least for now, because right now Reddit is fighting against Disney to not reveal the names, address, IP numbers of all the people that were potentially involved in putting these things out. So whether it's a legitimate thing or not, right now what it looks like is a multi-billion-dollar company trying to crack down on leakers on a subreddit and trying to get their actual personal information. Now, I do think that Disney has some right, because it is a script, an actual fucking script that leaked, to try to do some of these things. So they might be legally able to do that. However, it just makes them look salty as hell. It makes them look like they're doing their best to try to stop all this stuff from coming out, because everything comes out as bad. Guess what? If something leaked and it made people want to go see the movie, they probably wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't think this leak had anything to do with its failure at the box office, but right now Disney's trying to do anything they can to try to shut it down.
I agree. And so there's multiple ways to look at this, because we want to be as fair as possible when we cover stuff. And so because this is a leak, and it can have a hit on your business if something like that happens. This is an internal leak, from within Disney. This is an internal situation. And so they want to probably get to the bottom of it to understand where this leak is coming from. So I do understand that, but the optics behind it are bad, especially because I don't think anybody with a working brain and the slightest bit of common sense thinks that this is why Ant-Man failed, because this is not why Ant-Man failed. Ant-Man failed for a lot of different decisions that were made prior to Ant-Man coming out and leading us to the path that we're on. So from an optic standpoint, this looks really bad for Disney. And again, you got to be fair to them and understanding what the ramifications are from within the walls. So having that leak happen, but there's bigger things going on. And if Ant-Man was to make $800 million versus not even breaking 500, would they be that worried about it? No, but they've made this bed, they can lay in it. So I don't have any sympathy for them whatsoever, but the optics are really bad.
Yeah, so it started when the script appeared on Google all the way back in January. They were able to get it taken down a couple days later, but then it was on the Marvel Leaks or the Marvel Studios Spoilers subreddit. As a result, the company's now attempting to identify the users who shared the script, specifically the user MSS Mods. The problem arises due to this user's account being shared among moderators, making it difficult to link back to the person who originally posted the script. This is what Marvel's trying to get. Any information provided when an infringing user established their Reddit account, including names, addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses, any IPs used, and or account numbers. So they are desperately trying to find this. And like, again, they do have a right to do like DMC copyright takedowns if someone shares a script. That's really not in question. They don't if someone just shows a summary or someone just tells you a summary. Oh, I heard this, I heard that. That's not actionable at all in any way, shape, or form. But an actual script is. What they're doing now is going kind of above and beyond that and really trying to get Reddit to give them all the information for everybody that potentially has access to that account, which I don't know if they're going to be able to get that because there's so many people that might be involved.
It's a pretty messy situation, but ultimately this is what happens when you continue to push nonsense into your movies and you end up with movies that lose money when they needed to make a significant amount of money. So now Disney is scrambling, trying to come up with excuses, because is this the first time a fucking movie has ever leaked online before it came out? No. Is this the first time that we've seen someplace happen? No. And has it ever had like a significant impact or anything like that? No, it hasn't. I guess what was that one movie? It was a long time ago before all the woke bullshit that leaked online. Oh, it was the movie I like that nobody likes. X-Men Origins, Wolverine. So remember when X-Men
the
Origins
helicopter
Wolverine?
scene, with
all that, all that leaked online, all of it. You know what I mean? And I think that had a significant, I think that had an impact on it a little bit, but you know what had a really big impact on it? The fact that everybody fucking hated the movie to begin with once they saw it. That's what had the real impact on it.
And the reality about leaks is if you're not looking for it, you don't find it. You know, like it doesn't really affect people that aren't looking to go see it anyway. You know, one of the things that I thought was insane was that Endgame, there were spoilers out there if you wanted to look, right? But I never saw a single spoiler for Endgame. And I was pretty keyed in, right? But I wasn't actively looking for it. And like, I just feel like they're really overblowing the effect that some of those things can have on like keeping people away from a box office. Now, when you have something like Last of Us Part 2 leak, that I do think that had significant impact because it didn't just show, the plot. It showed that they have an immense disrespect and that they were lying to the entire audience to trick them into buying something. But
well, it wasn't the spoiler though, but it wasn't the spoiler that hurt Last of Us Part 2 as much as it was the blatant disrespect for the audience is what got exposed. So having a new character appear or a sudden death, yes, that could have an impact, but it was the way in which they were doing it and the fact that you had this big Abby Pump killing Joel, the hero of the story, and then you had to play as the character that killed Joel. So it wasn't the leak as much as it was the details of the leak that was the most detrimental thing for Last of Us. And so again, man, like, okay, Ryan, if I was to gun to your head before now, let's just eliminate the wokeness. Okay. Let's eliminate woke concerns, all of that. Okay. If you were to assume eliminating wokeness now, I guess that's a key caveat. If you were to assume the ending of Top Gun Maverick before you saw it, would you just assume if we're eliminating wokeness that, hey, Tom Cruise is going to end up being, the hero of the movie? That's pretty good, safe bet, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? It was, and guess what? It had no impact. It was a great fucking movie, so it doesn't matter. It didn't matter that we assumed what the ending would be minus wokeness, because I think we all assumed that there'd probably be a black female actually take over the
you don't need to
role.
constantly subvert everyone's expectations in order to have a good movie. Sometimes you can live up to people's expectations. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, so knowing or assuming the end of a film or it being very predictable, as long as it's good, and it's like, how many times do we go back and watch movies over and over and over again that we love? You know what I mean? Like, good storytelling is good storytelling. There's no substitute for that. But this is Disney, I think, being very petty right now.
East Coast Toasty Boy, in last super chat, he meant that it'd be surreal to go back. There you go. Taker for $2. Orlando is the Orlando Magic of American cities. Rax is for $5. Do it for Ryan. Got to keep the talent alive. That's right.
He's like, send super chats to help Ryan. LOL. Fortnite will save Ryan, says Alex McCarthy.
The clear site for $1. Hi, all rumblers. If YouTube, fuck YouTube. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Ryan. Last time Jeremy to be fucked for no reason. This time, fuck Ryan for no reason at all. Thank
Hell
you.
yeah. I
We
love
got
it.
any
By the way,
Streamlabs, Jeremy?
let me check that. But while I'm checking that, 2 plugs. We need to plug MegaCon and Meta PCs. Go for it.
Yeah, MegaCon on April 1st. For those of you that want to come to shithole Orlando, apparently, for those of you that want to be here for Orlando MegaCon, it's in 2 weeks, guys. We are going to be doing a panel on Saturday. I believe it's at 2:30 to 3:15, if I got my times right, if I remember that. And we'll have some more information as we get closer to the exact, all of that stuff. We'll remind you guys. But we will be there. Myself, Jeremy, Jay, a bunch of other people from Geeks and Gamers will be there. And I'm sure we'll do a little bit something after that'll be fun with you guys. So please come to Orlando MegaCon. We'd love to see you guys.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And then obviously we've got the Meta PCs link that we've been promoting a lot of. I'm trying to pull that up right now. We have no Streamlabs, by the way, Ryan. So we have no Streamlabs.
Perfect.
So Meta PCs, let me pull this up really quickly. And here we go. So again, you can find links in the description right here. But we have partnered with Meta PCs. You see that beautiful, beautiful build right there, the Geeks and Gamers build. But we have a landing page over on Meta PCs. So if you're interested in a custom PC or a pre-built PC from Meta PCs, please go over there to the landing page. Use the promo code GEEKS, GEEKS, and help support us. We definitely get a kickback on that, and they've done a lot for us. They've sent us a lot of units here to Geeks Gamers headquarters, and that's going to help us get up and running and everything we're doing. So really do appreciate them and appreciate all of you. So another one's in the books. We'll be live in about an hour over on Patriot Outpost, and then later tonight, Fortnite, and then I close the night out with Cobra Cast IRL, the most original name for any live stream in the history of YouTube. I did not grift off anyone for that name. But Ryan, got anything?
Taker for $2. Remember the Rise of Skywalker leaks you covered on EFAP? I do remember those.
Yes. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again,
you
that
know
was
what
like a
hurt
plot synopsis.
yeah. You know what hurt that movie? It wasn't the leaks. It was the bad movie. It was the bad movie. And so, all right, guys. Thank you so much for all the love. We're gonna get some rest. Not really. We're gonna get back to work. So have a great night or great day, and we'll see you in an hour on Patriot Outpost. Bye, everyone.
Bye.